it up, cup it up. Catch the rundown Monday to Thursday from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. only on the best youth station in the Bay.
You're listening to Madibaz Radio.
You're listening to Madibaz Radio Rundown, where we connect, inform, and engage with you. It is your boy, Katleho, rather, Utanon Soft, and I'm still with Tricia.
Hi, Kat.
Sonela, hey, man, sure? Are you still doing fine?
I'm still doing well. I'm great, yeah?
Yeah, you know, season complaint. And then in the house we have a psychologist, and not just a registered psychologist, Kansela, from the Emthonjeni Wellness. Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning.
How are you, ma'am?
I'm good. You know, I'm always happy to be here. But yes, I'm a psychologist at Emthonjeni. I go by Mohlale Paledi. Thank you so much for inviting us.
Guys, I'm so excited.
I am too. Please share with them that we both speak Spedi.
And it's the fact that Pedi and I'm like, whew, at least ngizoba break yokuthetha. Re tlo bolela le khonile ke re tlo bolela ka nkani ka gang bilane. So ma'am, I've prepared some questions for you here. The topic of the day, it's the joy of being in the present. So with your understanding, can you please unpack to us the joy of being in the present, maybe in 3 words or in a sentence, or yeah.
Okay, so the idea is not to be trapped in the past or the future, but to be in the now.
Oh,
your life is happening now.
Short and simple. Okay. So what are some common signs and symptoms of psychological distress that students should be aware of?
So I would say that so obviously we all get stressed, we all get sad, anxious. I also experience that as a psychologist. But you should track the severity or how often, right, you get sad or anxious or experience these overwhelming emotions, because that's the first indicator that something is really, really wrong. Because as much as we are human beings and we're expected to experience these emotions, but you're not supposed to be sad for months now, right? Because emotions vary and you're supposed to experience them in all kinds of form. So that's the first indicator. And I think the second one is most common when it comes to students, is when it comes to impulsive behaviors. And obviously we want to have fun while we're young, right, as students, but track, are you relying on substances or dysfunctional ways of functioning or dealing with mental health or emotional issues? So that's the first indicator, and that's something concrete that even a friend or a colleague can point out. So these two, I won't go in depth with the rest of, but these two, I think that they are the most easiest indicators to point out when it comes to dealing with distress.
Okay, so with that being said, with the indicators of distressing, what are the effective strategies for managing stress and anxiety during times of academic pressure? Because academics do really bring that pressure and the stress and the level of anxiety and all that. So what are the effective strategies for managing those?
So what I would say first of all is that with students, sometimes you'll find that they experience, obviously the issue might be psychological, sometimes academic in the sense of maybe the workload is too much or you don't understand the content, but the dilemma now is seeking out support, right? For example, they will say that I didn't know that I can consult with my lecturer. When it comes to first year students, maybe they don't even know how to reach out to their tutors. And for example, sometimes you are dealing with the study techniques that you are using using are not effective, and you don't know that you can consult a success coach. So one thing I would try to say is that challenges are going to be there, but know when it's time to seek out support. All right? And when it comes to psychological issues, sometimes you can manage. Like I said, we all get sad and stuff, and maybe you have effective coping mechanisms. For example, maybe you know that if you're being sad for a week, maybe you need to talk to a friend or journal, or maybe just go take a walk or something like that. But you need to kind of be in a space whereby you can pinpoint what's happening. And if you have no insight, rather reach out to us and we'll help you explore that and, make referrals when necessary.
Okay, perfect. How can students then cultivate mindfulness and be more present in their daily lives? Yeah.
So like I said, it's the simple things, it's the simple things. Like, for example, sometimes we get wrapped in like what's happening in our lives, and we forget that we can actually just enjoy little things. For example, now with me, my elbow is swollen, and now I realize that actually now I used to undermine the joy of just taking a shower and using my two hands. And now I'm not able to do that, and I'm like, wow. I took that for granted. So what I'm trying to say is that you are in this space. Try to enjoy that, because you work very hard to be here.
Yes.
That's the first week before we actually look into anything else, right? It's actually a privilege that you're able to sit in front of a professional, someone who's trained to give you so much knowledge. So try to enjoy the little things, the chats with a friend, the weather. Try to be mindful when you experience those things. For example, we have a workshop called Mindfulness at Emthonjeni, and we have arts expression whereby we don't even say much, right? We just allow you to do something that you would find fascinating and fun, and to be in that moment. And being in that moment means that you're listening to your emotions, to your thoughts, to how your body responds. Yes.
Madibaz already, the rundown, where we connect, inform, and engage with you. The joy of being in the present. So, what are some practical techniques for improving emotional awareness and regulation?
So what I would say is that when it comes to emotional awareness, so sometimes you might not be aware that you have this behavior. For example, maybe you're someone who likes perfection, right? You want to make sure that if we're saying that we're starting at 9:30, we start at 9:30. Then your colleague is saying that no, actually you have this behavior and it's affecting your functioning, because it's going to affect your relationships with other people who are different from you. Because sometimes it's not a deal breaker that we're starting at 32 past. And when people are conveying that, try to be more receptive of that, especially if it's aimed to build you, not to break you. So I think that's the first thing. But in terms of like you just yielding insight in your own challenges, I would say that I think that journaling, writing things down really helps, because if you go back to read what you wrote last month, you're going to be able to track patterns, right? Healthy and unhealthy patterns that you have exhibited in the last month that have actually affected your functioning. And when you're aware of something, if you know that if I come to Madibaz, there's a door here, right? It kind of does something for you, eases the anxiety. For example, now that I'm aware that this thing is there, even though I might struggle to navigate or address it, but the awareness that's something. And if you're not able to address it on your own, again I say that you have professionals in the university, and that's privilege that you have as students, and you guys actually pay for our services. So let us explore that with you, to just kind of like increase your emotional awareness so that you can deal with things better, and just function with challenges in life in a better manner.
Okay, thank you so much for sharing that. My pickup from what you said was emotional awareness, right? So I would like to know, how can we differentiate between the normal ups and downs and more serious mental health issues like depression or anxiety disorders? What is the difference between the two?
So like I'm gonna just use a simple example, and I think that I touch on this, right? Is that look at the severity and the period. Do you understand what I'm saying? It's okay for your friend to feel sad after a breakup. It's okay for your friend to feel sad that they got 48 instead of like maybe 60. Do you understand what I'm saying? But if you see that now I'm still lingering on this thing 2 months after and life is happening, then you need to be worried. Do you understand what I'm saying? If you see that, okay, now since I failed that test, I'm not able to socialize, I'm not able to attend classes, that means academic functioning is compromised, social functioning is compromised, I'm not able to like take care of my, just like my physical, like just hygiene. Do you understand what I'm saying? So the severity, the extent to what this issue is doing in your life is quite severe now, right? Because you can't do the daily things, the normal things, right? And maybe now you don't enjoy watching series now because now you beat yourself up. I got 48. Do you understand what I'm saying? So now it's not a matter of like, no, this person passed. It might actually just indicate that there is a mental health issue here, or a mental condition here. Do you understand what I'm saying? That needs to be further explored by a professional.
Okay. Here is Nonke Izituane, and then we'll still continue with our interview about the joy of being in the presence.
Best youth station in the Bay.
You're listening to.
We'll continue with our interview.
Yes.
This one is quite exciting for me because you know how us girls focus on self-care and stuff like that. So the question is, what role does self-care play in maintaining mental well-being, and what are some of the self-care practices that students can incorporate into their routines?
Okay, so basically I usually say that, you know, sometimes people will say that self-care is like a reward. I'm like, it's just kind of like bare minimum. Do you understand what I'm saying? If you are a human being, you need to take care of yourself. And then I'm not only talking about your mental health, just like holistically, physically, spiritually, mentally, psychologically, and, you know, academically as well. Right? So it's very, very important in terms of like just elevating levels of stress. Do you understand what I'm saying? So sometimes self-care is you being productive, and self-care sometimes looks like you making sure that you know you oblige with your academic commitment, right? And sometimes self-care, you know, it means just talking to a friend, or taking a walk with a friend, or alone, or you just like listening to your favorite radio station, Madibaz radio, and listening to your favorite host. You know, it's the simple things, like I said. Do you understand what I'm saying? It's the simple things that matter. Just like, but all around you need to make sure that there is a balance in your life. Definitely. Right? I'm not saying that just because I'm a mental health practitioner, I'm a psychologist, that now you should every time say that my mental health matters, whereas you're not attending classes, whereas you're not taking care of yourself, but you expect to function like optimally or healthy. Do you understand what I'm saying? So just taking care of the small things, making sure that you attend your classes, making sure that you eat well, making sure that maybe you exercise, right, or you journal, those kind of things and things that you can implement in your daily life. And it doesn't have to take the whole day.
Great, interesting. Well, we know as students, right, our days are not always the same. At times you can get 50% for a certain module, the next time you get 30%. So I would like to know, how can we build resilience to better cope with such setbacks and challenges that we may face during our academic journey?
So I think that the first thing is acceptance. I think that we sometimes idealize or fantasize about how things should be and not how they are. And the truth is that things are not linear. And this comes from someone who was once a student for 6 years. Right? Things are not linear in such a way that they're going to be bumps and curves on the road. So as a student, you must understand. I'm not saying that you should always expect to get 40 and say things are not linear or not, but you should be kinder to yourself and like be reflective. How did I get 40? Is it because I don't understand the content? Do I not have interest in this module or the course itself? What is happening? Because the mere fact that you're in this space, it means that you're capable. But we are different as people, and there are things that are going to hinder us along the way. And like I said, for you maybe it can be psychology. psychological.
Yes.
For me, it can be physical. So you need to just make sure that you understand that sometimes things are not going to always go accordingly, but be able to appreciate when things go your way. Be able to appreciate that 60%, and sometimes understand that, you know, just because you got 48% doesn't mean you can't redeem yourself, right? You'll be able to bounce back from like setbacks or failures and not berate yourself. If you're not able to understand this concept of what we are saying, you'll find yourself in a position whereby 2 months down the line you're beating yourself up because you got 40, whereas you forget that you managed to pass most of your tests as well. So integrating that is very important.
So accepting and improving.
Yes, and improving and being reflective, right? And accountable as well.
Yeah. So I remember this. When was it? Last week we were talking about building resilience.
Yes.
Right. So with building resilience and, you know, students, we do need professional help.
Yes.
No matter what we say, we might say, hey, nah, I'm fine. Hey, I'm okay. I don't feel like going to Emthonjeni. I don't feel like this and that. So what are some of the warning signs that a student may need professional help, and how can they seek support if needed? And also, while they're still in that process of seeking help when it's needed, how can they build resilience to better cope with setbacks and challenges they may face during their academic journey?
So I would like to just say that most of the work that we do at Emthonjeni is remedial, which means that the moment you get enrolled, in most cases, most students need our help. They need professional help because of what has happened to them before they even actually start their academic journey, right? And I'm listening to you, and some people might undermine that, but most of us come from backgrounds whereby we never heard of a psychologist.
That's true,
right?
Yeah.
And we have experienced certain things that have hindered our optimal functioning, right? And sometimes when you get here, you're at a breaking point because of what has happened to you when you were 6 till now. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And people will be like, but you just got here yesterday, man, you adjust, just give it time. But for you, there are a lot of things that has happened before. And that's why I'm saying that most of the work that we do is remedial. Sometimes we're not even addressing what's happening in this space, but what has happened before. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And sometimes, like I said, like something that's very concrete, because sometimes if you like emotional awareness, certain things that I might speak of, you might not relate to, but I just say that look at your behavior. Do you understand what I'm saying? What are you doing? Something that's physical that we can see and provide evidence of. What are you doing? You find that sometimes you engage in impulsive behaviors, whether it's reckless spending, whether it's like using substances, excessively, or maybe overeating, things like that. Look at those. Those are indicators of mental health challenges that a person might be sitting with. And I'm highlighting this and reiterating them because I know that if the person is not willing to accept that I have an issue, a friend will be able to pick these things up. Because with emotions and thoughts, if you are not a therapist or whatnot, you won't be able to be like, hi, this person is sad, but the sadness is concerning. Sometimes they're able to hide their emotions well and their thoughts, but those are the concrete things that we can see and they can see as well.
Okay.
Insightful.
Yeah.
But there is more.
Yeah. It's getting heated, hey? Yes. So, tell us, Madam, what are the benefits of seeking counseling or therapy? And how can students overcome the stigma associated with mental health treatment?
So, like I said, right, when it comes to mental health challenges, is that when people sometimes opt for the quick fix.
Yes.
Do you understand what I'm saying? The quick fix we're going to do here is going to positively impact your life in the long term. That means that even when you are done, you're going to keep in mind that I'm toxic now when it comes to my relationships.
Yes.
Why am I doing this? Why these days I'm overeating? Remember, with my counselor, we addressed that this is an indicator of me maybe feeling neglected or deprived. So I need to address this maybe with those people or with myself rather than just opting for this unhealthy way of functioning. Do you understand what I'm saying? So we explore in depth what you're sitting with and where it comes from and how we can manage it. and going forward as like an adult, and how you can implement it in your life to function in a healthy manner.
Okay, and I like the fact that you touched on the relationships, the toxicity that comes with relationships, because it's the next question that I wanted.
Toxic, man.
That's the next question that I wanted to ask. So, with that being said, can maybe let students establish boundaries when it comes to their relationships, because sometimes relationships tend to fiddle with their schoolwork. You'd find that people have that mindset of hey na thabo ke amorata mara a ke ba tlotlogelang lena because like ke motho sharp mara knowing very well that Thabo is your my forever, but then you know very well that Thabo is being toxic towards you. How can we like then establish boundaries when it comes to things like that? Because we have that thing, Yoguti, we manipulate each other when we are in relationships, when we are in the university level. Yes.
So when it comes to endings, when it comes to relationships, it's very, very difficult because an ending is loss. Do you understand what I'm saying? And loss is difficult to navigate, and some of us were never in environments whereby we were taught how to deal with things like this emotionally. But at the same time, you need to understand that Thabo might be doing all of these things and whatnot, but if you are aware of them and you say that I'm going to continue being with Thabo, you are betraying yourself. Do you understand what I'm saying? And that's the most hurtful thing. When you betray yourself, that's one of the most difficult battles you will ever have to overcome. So you need to be firm and understand that it might be painful now, but it might actually yield better things or results for you in the future. That yes, being with Thabo provides that relief that I have someone, but do you really have someone if Thabo is not basically loving you right or being there for you as a partner should be? So basically the first boundary you have to set is with yourself, that there are certain limits, or like things that we don't tolerate. But it's always hard.
So 1 minute. What role does social connection play in mental health, and how can students foster supportive relationships with peers and mentors? And also, with that being said, what are we taking home today, like word of the day? Yes.
So what I'm going to say, okay, you put him on the spot. So I'm going to say, like I said, right? Choose your people, right? Yes, because they will carry you when you cannot carry yourself, right? If you get it right there, trust me. Trust me. Your life is looking brighter already.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
But I see we don't have
It's fine. Thank you very much. That was Mohlale. She's a psychologist, a registered psychologist from the Emthonjeni Student Wellness Centre. Usinevuyo Ndimdim to bring us news at the top of the hour. Madibaz Radio, where we connect, inform, and engage with you.